Thank you for joining us for our AgriPulse Washington Week in Review. I'm Spencer Chase, joined as always by AgriPulse Senior Editor Phil Brasher, discussing the week that was, agriculturally speaking, in Washington, D.C. And folks, it's good to be back. It's been kind of a while since we sat down and had one of these chats.
About 6 weeks, I guess.
Yeah, there's been some campaigning, some elections, some farm bill posturing, some more farm bill posturing. Then when they were done with that, they postured some more on the farm bill. And so there's quite a bit for us to talk about here that happened this last week and really this last month and a half as well. And so rest assured, the good folks at AgriPulse are going to be running into the lame duck session like a possessed goose, and we'll cover all of the farm bill developments that will happen here in the next couple of weeks. But with that in mind, we need to talk about some of the developments that have happened recently. Perhaps one of the most important developments in the farm bill conversation was the election, with the House of Representatives switching over to Democrat control in January. It really changes kind of the big picture on farm bill things. And Phil, what did we see this week in terms of progress on producing a 5-year farm bill?
Well, it became very evident what happened to the election, because what happened in the election is the Democrats, of course, took over the House. That means going into the lame duck session, House Agriculture Chairman Mike Conaway saw his leverage drop dramatically since he's going to lose control of the committee. Republicans are losing control of the House. We knew this sort of going in because it was kind of obvious what was going to happen at the election. But certainly the urgency now is to get this bill done on Chairman Conaway's part and get it enacted before January and the new Congress comes in.
And so the four principals that are negotiating this, the top Republicans and Democrats of the House and Senate Agriculture Committees, have said this week that they have made progress, that they're moving closer toward that goal. I believe the quote this week was, we're closer than we've ever been, which is probably indicative of the fact that we're further along in the process than we've ever been. But Phil, in your estimation and in your reporting, what's done and what's left as we try and produce a new farm bill?
They are very close. What we're told is that Chairman Conaway, with support from Collin Peterson, the ranking Democrat on House Ag Committee, is going to be chairman come January. They have made a proposal to the Senate on some issues. The senior Democrat over there, Debbie Stabenow, has pushed back on some provisions. They're not, in the grand scheme of things, they're fairly small, but they're important to a number of groups, and they do have significance. In the conservation title, having to do with the Conservation Stewardship Program, there's some issues with forestry provisions, partly related to what's going on in California with all the fires. Believe the payment limit provisions in the commodity title are not quite settled as well. Some things here and there still need to be settled. They hope to get them wrapped up in the next few days, possibly this weekend, early next week. They've got to get all this into text and get it ready for Congress to move in December, or after Thanksgiving.
Right, because that moves us into our next question. They are in a bit of a tight pinch here when it comes to timing and how much time they might have available, and that is not even taking into consideration what leadership might give them for floor time. I mean, they're really on a cramped schedule here.
Yeah, we're probably looking at about 3 weeks after Thanksgiving. We know they have 2 weeks because there's a week left in November, and then the government is funded through December 7th. So something has to happen then to keep the government funded into the next year. Another issue that's on the plate of this lame duck Congress. So you're probably looking at 2 to 3 weeks in order to get this legislation all finalized, all the text, all the I's dotted and the T's crossed, all the numbers right, and then get it on the House and Senate floor.
So that's where things stand at the moment on the Farm Bill. We'll obviously keep you all up to date on that. But as Phil also mentioned, something that the Congress is going to have to get done, either get done or extend further, is some kind of government funding mechanism to fund the government for the rest of the fiscal year. And so with that in mind, there's going to be a lot of money moving around here on Capitol Hill here in the next couple of weeks. And part of that is going to be potential for disaster assistance funding for the nation's producers impacted by the hurricanes earlier this year, as well as as well as some wildfire issues as well. But Phil, are we hearing anything in terms of developments on whether or not that disaster assistance is going from a pipe dream or something that producers really want to something that legislators can actually give them?
Yeah, I just talked to Robert Adderholt, who's chairman of the Agriculture Appropriations Subcommittee over on the House. He controls the budget for USDA. He said they're still trying to get some numbers from Georgia in Florida on the damage there. You know, the cotton crop was just decimated in southern Georgia by Hurricane Michael. So trying to get all these numbers together. The goal is to get something attached to whatever moves in December.
Mm-hmm. So obviously that's going to be something to watch here as well throughout the rest of the lame duck session, something that we'll be covering pretty extensively, and I'm sure you will be following pretty extensively at agripulse.com. But I think that's going to do it for this week. Probably won't be seeing us next week because I will personally be stuffing my face full of turkey. I can't vouch for Phil's plans, but I can certainly give you mine. But Congress is going to be out of town next week.
Yes, Spencer, we'll be back here by like a possessed goose.
Yes.
Right
we'll be covering the lame duck like a possessed goose. I probably should have warned Phil I was going to use that phrase, but whatever.
And stay close to agripulse.com for developments on the Farm Bill because, as we said, we're getting very close to the finish line here.
All right. But I think that's going to do it for this week. So for Phil Brasher, I'm Spencer Chase. Have a good one.
Consumers want to know farmers are protecting natural resources, clean air, and clean water for future generations. A new partnership between the Environmental Defense Fund and the National Corn Growers Association addresses these concerns.
Every planful step that we can make with the environmental community to improve soil health, to improve water quality, is a critical step, and we need to get it right each time.
We all deserve and want a safe, affordable food system, one that is good for the environment and good for farmers. And that's really the main purpose of this partnership.
Getting that different perspective, utilizing each other's staff and expertise to find those new programs is a great opportunity.
EDF calls agriculture one of the greatest sources of innovation in the country, noting the new partnership should help build on that reputation. If you'd like to know more, visit ncga.com or edf.org.